Welcome to this module. So in this module, we'll be discussing variables, data types, and comments. So I know we've discussed comments in the previous module, but we'll look at other types of comments. So our objective in this course is to create and use variables to store different types of data, to understand basic data types, to write clear and helpful comments, to get user inputs, to use f strings, and also applying all these concepts for real world use cases. So now, what are variables? Think of variables like containers for your data. So look at these examples here. You can have a variable. Name is a variable at this point because we are defining it to be something. We are making our name Henry. It could be your name, it could be anything, but the variable we are creating is name. And you can name your variable anything. So we can say this is username, right? So Henry is a string, right? So this is a data type. Henry is a string because it is text and we engulfed it in quotation marks. The next is we created a variable age. So you can see it's telling us that this is a variable and it is age. The value we put there is 26. So Henry's age is 26, right? So this 26 is an integer. So you need to understand these data types. So an integer is just any number that you impute, right? Any whole number that you impute. Then the next data type is boolean. So boolean is dichotomous. It's either true or false. So you would also use this data type a lot in Python. So you can say, so we name the variable is student. So is Henry a student? True. That means yes. If it is false, then Henry is not a student, right? Height. Let's say his height is 1.75 meters, right? So these that have a decimal point is a float. So that's just the difference between this and this. This has decimal points while this doesn't. So this is an integer and this is a float. So when you define these, you won't get any output. So the reason we're getting output in the previous module is because we asked it to print. It's just like telling it to return something for me. But now we are not asking for anything. We are just defining variables. Let's move along. Now we want to return a couple of things based on what we've gotten, based on the variables we've gotten. So this is where f strings come in. Now, f strings are used when you want to return a variable within your print statement, right? So now you have these curly brackets that engulf name. Okay, we changed name to username, so you need to be consistent. So that's why it's showing you an error that name is not defined. When name is not defined, you will get error. So let's change this to username. So you see that it recognizes that there is something called username that I have. So it removed the red line. Now, f string are used when you want to return these kind of variables. So it will look for what username is and return it. So hello, whatever is in username. You are dash years old, height dash meters. Student status is student. So if you run this, hello Henry, you are 26 years old, height 1.75 meters, student status true. If you change any of these things, let's say Ade false. I two, let's say 2.5. So if you run this, it saves those variables again. So it forgets what it was and it saves what you currently saved it as. Now, if you run this, hello Ade, you are 26 years old, height 2.5, student status false. So you can see how interesting this is. You can use your print statements to return variable. So next, we'll be looking at our data types. So the first data type we'll be looking at is string. So first name, Alice. Last name, Johnson. Full name is first name plus a space plus last name. Now, how did we come about this? We already defined first name to be the variable keeping Alice. Last name is keeping Johnson, which is the last name of this person. Now, the full name is just a combination of first name and last name with a space in between. Now, plus can be used to add strings together. So the content of first name is a string, content of last name is a string, and the content of this is a string. This is an empty space engulfed in quotation marks. So that is also a string. So when you print the full name, it will tell you the first name plus a space plus a last name. Now, these triple quotation marks can be used to write strings that span multiple lines. So we save this in bio in this variable, and we want to print bio too. So we'll print the full name, we'll also print bio. Now you can see Alice Johnson, that's the full name, and this is a multi-line string that can span multiple lines. That is what these do. If you put 3 quotation marks consecutively, you can write multi-line strings. Now the next data type we'll be looking at is integers and floats. Now you remember what we said integers are and what floats are. Now look at the age. We said age is 25, year is 2024, temperature is -5. All these are floats. Height 1.75, weight 68.5, pi 3.14, blah blah blah. As long as it has decimal points, they are floats. So these are integers, these are floats. You need to take note of that. Now we want to have a sum, like an addition of age and year, right? Products, that is multiplication. So you can do whatever mathematical operation in Python. So we are multiplying height with weight, and we want to print the sum of age and year and the product of this. So this 2f is telling us that we want it in 2 decimal places, right? So we want product, that is multiplication of height and weight, in this place and in 2 decimal places. So when you print this, you will get sum is 2049 because it is adding 25 plus 2024, and product is height times weight because it's multiplying these two and returning the value as this in 2 decimal places. So you need to just take note of this syntax. And f string. So remember that when we didn't have any variable in the string, we didn't have to put f here, but f is used because we are embedding variables in our print statement. I hope you understand. So that is for numbers. So the next data type we would look at is boolean data type. So is student? True. Is working? False. Asker? True. Can drive is equal to asker and age is greater than or equal to 18. So we said age is 25 years, so it can still remember the variables it have. So we want to return something. This is a variable can drive. So can drive is equal to asker and age is greater than or equal to 18. So this is a condition, right? Age is greater than or equal to 18. So if age is greater than or equal to 18 and the person has a car, so asker is true, age is greater than or equal to 18, then print can drive, right? So this would look at these two things and return the appropriate Boolean operator. So if asker is true and age is true, then can drive will be true. So true and true will be true. So can drive will be true. But if you say asker is false, so this would now be false and this is true. False and true would give you false. So can drive will be false. So if age is let's say 16, age is 16, asker false, the person is 16 years old, doesn't have a car. So false and false will give you false. You understand? So that is the use case of Boolean operators. It compares true and false. So there are different operators. There's and, there's or, and a couple of others. So let's move along. How do you check for data types? You use something called type. I mentioned Python is easy to understand. It uses English. It's not vague. It uses English. So now we want to print type of name. Remember, this is a string, and we used f here because we want to put a variable here, or we want to put a function here. So type is a function. So type of name. So if you say type name, username, it's a string, right? So if you do this, it will tell you that type of name is string, type of age is integer, type of height is float, type of a student is Boolean. So this is what you can use to check the type of your variable. So if you are not sure what the type of variable is, you can just put type of that variable and it will return the type for you. So let's move on to the next item. Is different types of comments. So there's a single line comment and there's also a multi-line comment. So whenever you use your triple quotation marks this way, you return a multi-line comment. And whenever you use a single, whenever you use a hashtag, right, you return a single line comment. So this is just an example. When you run this, your single line comment will not show, but your multi-line comment will show, right? So you need to take note of that. So those are the different types of comments you can add to your codes. So now next thing we want to look into is getting user input. So there are scenarios where you want to create something where you would need your user to input something. So how do you do it? Now, you create a variable, you need the user to input something. So you can say input, then what you want the user to see. So what's your name? That is what we want our user to see. So they have to input something. Age. How old are you? They have to input something. But there is something that happens whenever they input, it is string. Even if they input a number, it sees it as string. So you need to convert it to integer. So that is what this is for. So int open bracket age converts the input of this to integer. So user input always returns a string, so we need to convert it to integer. So same here, the height would turn to string, so you can just engulf everything inside float. Same as the weight. So we can now do our mathematical operator here to calculate the BMI. So this is a quick BMI calculator, right, for this person. So if you run this code, you've created a calculator. Good for you. So if you run this, you would see on top of my IDE, I have what's your name. It's telling me to press enter to confirm or escape to cancel. So if I say my name is Hope and enter, it will ask me the next question. How old are you? I would say I am 12 years old. Next. What's your height in meters? That is this line. So this line is not an input line, so you won't be saying this. So the next input is height. Height, let's say 1.5 in meters. Weight. What's your weight in kg? In kg, let's say 80 kg. It has finished collecting my input, right? Now we have my BMI stored in this BMI variable. So let's now make it beautiful, because we have the age of the person, we have the name of the person, and also the BMI. So if we print hello name, you were born around, so 2024, that is okay, let's use 2025 since we are in this year. So 2025 minus age, it will give us the year that person was born. Then print your BMI is BMI in 2 decimal places. So BMI colon dot 2f gives you that variable in 2 decimal places. So if you print this to tell you, hello Hope, you were born around 2013, your BMI is 35.56 based on the calculation it did here. Weight divided by height times 2. So that is a quick implementation of everything we've been learning. So let's quickly look at string formatting with f string. So we've used a couple of f strings. So this is just to make it clear to you. Saving name as Sarah, age as 28, profession as data scientist. We can print any variable if you include this f in it. So if you print this, you would see hello Sarah. Sarah is 28 years old and works as a data scientist. So f strings can just, help you do a lot of things. And you can also even implement mathematical operators in your f strings. For example, if you have x is 10, y is 5, you can say print f string x plus y is equal to x plus y. So this x plus, this plus is a string because it is embedded in the string. It is not enclosed in these curly brackets. So it is not seen as an operator. This is seen as a string. So why this is seen as an operator is because it is enclosed in these curly brackets. So the curly bracket specifies what is a Python code or a calculation or a variable in our f string print statement. So same goes to this. X squared is x times 2. So when you see times in Python, it is saying square. So when you run this, you would see x is 10 plus 5 is equal to the addition of both of them, which is 15, and 10 squared is 100. So I'm going to leave a couple of assignments or exercises that you can, use to get your hands dirty. The first one is personal information tracker, right? That's your first exercise. So I would put more information in the scripts so you can understand what you need to do and get it done. You can use your GitHub Copilot over here to help you out, and also if you don't understand, you can go to our previous videos and get to understand what you are doing. So I have 3 exercises here for you: personal information tracker, a simple calculator, and also temperature converter. So once you do all these, you can upload to GitHub as usual, and share the link with us, and we would hopefully review it and see how far you are making progress. So thank you for attending, and I'll see you in the next module. Bye.